A man ended the life of a state lawmaker and wounded another senator, leaving behind a list of elected officials, including members of Congress, on a hit list he was targeting. Now we have senators getting together saying, we need to hire more federal workers to ensure our safety. Why is this happening? Let's get into it. On June 14th, a 57-year-old gunman assassinated State Representative Melissa Hortman, a former House Speaker. Her husband was also shot and killed in their own house. Not too far away, another state senator and his wife were shot by 17 bullets. 17! And then there were other people that were visited, but they were on vacation, so they weren't in town, thankfully. Otherwise, they could have been injured as well. Now, allegedly, how this was done is the shooter approached the house, the front of the door, knocked, said, "Open up. This is the police." Now, keep in mind, he's disguised as a police officer. He has black body armor. He has a badge. Also, he took it a step further. He had a latex mask to disguise his facial features. Now, this is happening at night. He's shining a flashlight. When they open the door, he's got the flashlight on them, saying he's a police officer. They quickly realize this guy is not a police officer. He's in costume. So there's some shoving taking place, and eventually he discharges the firearm. Now, not only does he have the outfit of a police officer, his car has the license plate that says police on it. He has the lights inside of his car, so it looks like a patrol car. Even the police were confused by this. So this is how he's going around in the neighborhood trying to assassinate different state senators. Now, also on his list, it's not just confined to state elected representatives. He has the governor, Tim Walz, and he has members of Congress on there. So he's able to escape for 2 days. It took 2 days. They finally found him outside of a farm that he owned, and they arrested him. They brought him in. He now faces court on June 27th. After the shootings, Michigan Representative Hillary Scholten canceled a town hall because her name was on the hit list. Now, politicians have always received threats, either from people that disagree with them or people that are not mentally stable. But for a man to plan it out, to have a list, to have the firearm, and to actually go out and execute that plan, it has a lot of people nervous. Shortly after these events, Senate leaders called for an urgent meeting. They're pushing for more funding because they see clearly that violence is ramping up. And it's not just violence, it's the threat of violence. It's the number of threats that we're seeing over the past several months. If you look just recently, just this year, this is not the only incident. We've seen Josh Shapiro's house, right? The governor's house recently set aflame. And then the Texas State Capitol evacuated the building due to a threat of violence. The senators are saying we need more protection, which means we need more money. And whose job is it to protect members of Congress? Well, that would fall to the USCP, the United States Capitol Police. There are over 2,000 people currently employed within the Capitol Police, and their responsibilities, their duties have expanded somewhat since 2021. Right now, they're responsible for protecting members of Congress, securing the Capitol complex, respond to threats and emergencies, investigate crimes, intelligence, and also counterterrorism. They also maintain and track the data. So when it comes to threats, when it comes to phone calls, people getting on the phone making threats, last year it was over 9,000. The year before that, it was 8,000. So we've seen an 18% increase in violent, threatening phone calls. Now, it's important to go ahead and highlight the Capitol Police. They protect elected representatives, congressional representatives. It's all at the federal level. What we're talking about with the shootings, that was done at a state level. So with the state, usually they have the state police, or they'll form up some other organization to protect those folks. Last year, a survey found that 43% of state lawmakers faced threats during their recent terms. All this is making people more eager to boost the budget of the Capitol Police. Last year, their budget was around $700 million. This year, it could go over $1 billion. And despite a federal hiring freeze that's currently in effect, I checked this morning, they're hiring. There's 7 jobs open right now with a salary range between $83,000 and $142,000 a year. These jobs, they're going to be in the DC area. They're also open to the public, so you don't need any special preference in order to be eligible or compete for these jobs. So what type of jobs are we talking about? There's a police officer position, there's a special agent position, there's even a human resource position here that they're hiring for. So if you do decide to get on usajobs.gov and apply to one of these positions, just understand it's not like a regular job announcement where there's a blue rectangle button where you can click it and apply. You actually are redirected to another website, to the Capitol Police website. So you have to scroll down on the job announcement, find that link, and click it. So what does this all mean? This agency is likely to get more money. They're likely to start hiring more and more. You could see protection details go out, home details. There's even people that floated the idea of 24/7 security. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult to accomplish with the current workforce. You got 2,000 people that are working there. You got over 500 members of Congress, not even counting their family. And they're all spread out throughout the country. So how are you going to accomplish this? You're going to have to increase that workforce and then maybe prioritize which senators, which members of Congress are more at risk. And what makes them at risk is they're more hated, is the best way to look at it. They're saying things that are more controversial. They're able to create that strong emotion that makes radical people do radical things. But not everybody is sold on the idea, because there's a senator over in South Dakota. He says it's not feasible to have security all of the time. And there's a point in that, but also at the same time, if you're from South Dakota, you're probably lower risk than someone from Minnesota or Texas. Just by the nature of your state, there's a lower population over there. Governor Tim Walz called the Minnesota shootings targeted political violence. Obviously, violence is not the answer when people have political differences. You probably have a different political opinion than I do, but at no point should we escalate it to violence. So this just shows how strongly worded the rhetoric has been, how much the tension has amplified over the last couple of years, because we're seeing this as a result of increased tension. And a lot of it's coming from immigration at this point. Speaking of that, let's pivot to another wild story. A New York City comptroller and mayor candidate were recently arrested by ICE outside of an immigration court in Manhattan. Why? Because he was escorting a migrant who was about to be detained after a court hearing. The comptroller got into a scuffle with members of ICE, shoved him against the wall, and then he was cuffed. Let's take a look at it right now. Okay, so what's interesting about this video is the federal officers, they look like regular people. I mean, one's got a mask on, the other's got a graphic t-shirt on. It looks like they're on their way to the gym or maybe a buddy's house to hang out. This fella has a backwards hat on. So ICE officers, they could be uniformed or they could be in casual clothes. If they're doing surveillance, they're in casual clothes. But I'm willing to wager, I'm willing to bet that if the ICE officers, the federal officials, were in uniform, this probably wouldn't have happened. And there's a sensitive subject going on about police officers or law enforcement officials wearing masks. California just recently proposed something saying that police officers shouldn't be wearing masks because they're looking at it like the secret police. And for me, it's not a big deal. You have a mask, you don't have a mask, but you should at least have a badge, or you should look like you're a professional, right? You should have a professional attire on. You shouldn't be wearing your gym bro shirt as you're making an arrest. That doesn't make sense to me. The comptroller said he was protecting migrants from being stripped of their due process rights. And apparently he was doing this over the last several days. He was able to do it with 4 other families. Now, DHS, they're claiming that he assaulted an ICE officer. The governor of New York doesn't see things that way because they let him walk without even being charged. And there were a lot of supporters around him. It was this big show. And if you look at the video, it doesn't seem like he was assaulting anybody. At the very most, it looked like he was resisting arrest. But emotions get really high. So let's say he didn't identify they were ICE officers, and all of a sudden people are grabbing you. So when someone grabs you and they don't identify themselves, or they don't seem like they're a police officer, and they're putting hands on you, I think the natural reaction is to try to, shrug it off, try to figure out what's happening around you. This story is about immigration policies, but really it's another example on how political tensions can boil over and something crazy like this happens. You can expect probably more of these confrontations. Just last month, Representative LaMonica was charged with assaulting federal officers at an ICE facility in New Jersey. Speaking of immigration, what we're witnessing right now, ICE is using federal workers in other agencies. Agencies like the IRS, agencies like the TSA. They're using workers that do not work in immigration, but they're pulling them in to help conduct raids, to help with security. Why? They don't have enough workers. They're trying to fix that. They're trying to ramp up, but right now they don't have enough workers. This could create a whole nother mess. If you want to know more about that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.